Hey everybody, welcome to the GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Warhammer 40,000 Codex Necrons, I guess, next in the wave of Q4 40k Codex releases, which was kindly sent as a complimentary review copy by Games Workshop. Now this hardcover, full-color book is, of course, your pathway to playing Necrons in Warhammer 40,000 like I do, and if, like many people, you got them in the starter set, the previous edition starter set, which was totally featured around the conflict outlined in this book, in the Pariah Nexus, and also alt TV show on Warhammer TV, then this is the summation of all of those events. So you've got Illuminator Xandris basically finishing up his experimentation on all the humans in that area, why some of them got quieted by these giant pylons that he built, and these pylons are effectively like anti-warp devices. They keep chaos out, but they also kind of suck your soul out, so humans get all docile and dormant and catatonic when they're in the region. He was there to try and figure out why some of them don't, and it's because they're, short answer, because they're crazy, because they're the nutty ones. And that is the thrust of this book, which is divided into a few different sections. So in this book we have the main plot line, so in Search for Mortality, what they've been up to, how they're trying to reclaim the galaxy by filling it. The Silent King wants to basically bring all of the warring dynasties together and have these pylons everywhere so we can kick chaos out of the galaxy and, you know, take it back for the undying legions of robo-people. Then the showcase, all the pretty new models, and the combat patrol rules. And if you do have the previous starter set, you do have all the models from the combat patrol, because you have Scorpion destroyers, you have warriors with different kinds of guns, and you have the Lord and the, I think you get the, what's his face? The little guy. The little fall back and shoot Lord. What the hell was he called? The noble. Anyway. Then Force of the Necrons, which is all the profiles and data cards, also available on this guy out today. And then your Crusade rules and points. So if you have this book, you will also be able to unlock its contents on the Warhammer 40k app to make army lists and look at profiles. Otherwise, all of your profiles are going away today. I hope you downloaded them. Hope you're used to this now. So go get your PDFs because they're going to be gone. And that's that. So the code in this book is obviously fairly important. So let's jump in, have a look at the pretty pictures. Obviously, of course, the book starts with screaming faces because all good 40k books now must start with screaming faces, the important intro art. And then we've got our beautiful color sections for 50-ish pages going through the background and the history of this millions of year-old dynasty of people that used to rule our galaxy. The different dynasties get their own page. We get some cool interactions between like Mechanicus and Necron people and the stuff that's going on in the Pariah Nexus. And then, of course, the model showcase. There's a few models still in the range that are getting pretty old now, actually. Catacomb Command Barge is one of them. The Lich Guard and Trike Praetorians are getting kind of old. All the flyers, I mean, these models hold up spectacularly, but I think they're 7th edition 40k, because the Doomside Nightscythe came out with the advent of flyers. So we're getting kind of long in the tooth now, aren't we? And then these cool dudes. Now, I'm actually very happy that the Crypt Chronomancers, Technomancers, and Psychomancers are all getting kind of a glow-up, like, story-wise. They're much more integral to the functioning of the Necron society, and so they kind of have an enhanced role on the battlefield. And okay, everyone's screaming at me, but I want to show off the new models like this. Zeranak Dynasty Overlord with his Translocation Shroud. This is a very cool new model. Orkan the Diviner got a new model too, and so did Imhotep the Storlord. So these I think are up for pre-order today. And obviously they had like fine cast miniatures up until just now, especially Imhotep, who's like supposed to be kind of the big bad as far as like fighty, warbossy. You know, he's kind of a Gazgul type dudes go. It's cool that he's getting a big new model. And those are all on 40 mil bases, so imagine like they are not big. They're a lot like Illuminator Xandris' new model, where he got bigified a significant amount. And this is the guy's name I was struggling with a minute ago. The Royal Warden, that's what he's called. And then the Silent King himself, the big bad, the big boss, the dude who is trying to keep it all together for everybody. And then again, these, yeah, the Zerkan Dynasty Ophidian Destroyers. Look at those, man, they're getting old. All right, moving in, combat patrol rules. So if you're missing these will, I believe, still be free on the app no matter what. All the combat patrol rules are. And like I said, if you had the previous starter set, yeah, because it's Warriors, Scorpion Destroyers, the Overlord, a Monotex Guard. Yeah, no Royal Warden. What was I smoking? And then Scarabs and a Doomstalker. Oh, no, you don't get the Doomstalker in that box. You get the Reanimator. I was wrong. You don't have it if you have the starter set. You have to actually have this guy. Huh. Weird. Weird choice. Weird choice. Anyway, it's all in here. Forces of the Necrons. And army rules. All right, so reanimation protocols, it's the same as before. You get D3 wounds back if you have a unit on the battlefield during the command phase, or you get D3 wounds worth of guys back if you are short guys in your squad. Awakened Dynasty, as far as I can tell, this is the same as before. Command protocol is when a Necron character is leading your units, you get +1 to hit. And then you get your Veil of Darkness as your enhancement, which is a once per game, bamf out, back in outside of 9. Another Realm Casket, which is your unit, and you get stealth, which is pretty cool. A Phasal Subjugator, the names are pretty awesome. Your +1 to hit for friendly Necrons, excluding characters that are within 6 of the bear. And then an Anagic Dermal Bond. And there's some H.P. Lovecraft words here. 4+2 no pain on the character. And I believe these are all the same as the Awakened Dynasty rules, which are the launch sort of like detachment that these guys had at the beginning of 10th. You've got you can immediately reanimate for Protocol of the Undying Legions. You get your comeback to life once per game for all the characters. Hungry Void is the +1 strength characteristic in melee and improve the AP by 1. Protocol of the Sudden Storm, of course, is the all your guns get assault. And you can roll advanced rolls if you run. Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant is your shooting phase. And once your units have been selected to shoot, until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack that targets unit within half range, you reroll hit rolls of 1s. It's like a short range explodey shoot. And the Protocol of the Vengeful Stars. After somebody shoots you, you basically shoot back. As long as they weren't destroyed. So now we're into the new detachments. You got Annihilation Legion, a Canoptic Court, an Obeisance Phalanx, which is like the Silent Foe, or this King's one, and the Hypercrypt Legion, which is the all Catani one, which I think is pretty neat. So we've got, like I said, they're all based on sort of around a different unit type. Now, obviously, there's no actual unit restrictions because this is 10th edition 40k, but they will benefit you for taking those units, and there's really no reason not to. So this one's all Cryptex, the other one's all Destroyers. This one's the man himself, Silent King, Overlords and Big Boys. And then like Triarch stuff, and then the Hypercrypt Legion is Catans, which I think is very cool. So Annihilation Legion, your detachment rule is Annihilation Protocol. Each time a Destroyer called or Flayed One's unit from your army declares a charge, you can roll the charge roll. And if you're below half strength, add +1. You start getting mad because you guys are all dying, your friends are all dead. And then your enhancements, you can have Internal Madness. In the fight phase, each time a model in the bear's unit is destroyed, that model is not fought yet. On a 4+, they can fight. And then remove from play. Ingrained Superiority, each time a model in the bear's unit makes an attack on a critical wound, its AP goes up by 1. Soulless Reaper for Destroyer Cult models only. Each time an enemy with engagement range is likely to fall back on a 3+, they can't fall back. It just gets stuck to them. And then Eldritch Nightmare, it's also Destroyer Cult only. At the end of the fight phase, each enemy unit with engagement range must make a battle shock test. It's just a freaking nightmare. I like this one a lot because it's just about scary stabbers. We have Masks of Death. When your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase, just after an enemy it's been selected to fight, has selected its target, sorry. And the target's a Destroyer Cult or Flayed One unit that was selected as the target of an attack, they're -1 to hit. So you basically just you scare them with your spooky face. The Spore of Frailty, your shooting phase or fight phase, one Destroyer Cult or Flayed One unit in your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in the unit makes an attack that targets unit below starting strength, add 1 to the hit roll. If it's below half strength, add 1 to the wound roll as well. Then you got Murderous Reanimation. When the fight phase, target 1 Destroyer Cult or Flayed One unit for your army that's just destroyed an enemy unit, or just cause an enemy unit that was not below half strength to become below half strength. Your unit's reanimation protocols just activate automatically. Then you got Pitiless Hunters. When the fight phase, 1 Destroyer Cult or Flayed One unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a pile or consolidation move, it can move to 6 instead of up to 3. And then Blood-Fueled Cruelty. When your opponent's movement phase just after an enemy unit ends a fallback move, targets 1 Destroyer Cult or Flayed One unit from your army that started the phase with an engagement of the enemy unit. And the effect is roll a d6. On a 2 to 5, they take d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, they take 3. And you can then make a normal move, but it must end as close as possible to the enemy unit. Because you love the killing while they file back, which I think is great. And then last one's Insanity Desire. When your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy's shot and targets a Destroyer Cult or Flayed One unit from your army that had 1 or more of its models destroyed, your unit can then make a normal move, but must end that move as close as possible to that enemy unit. It doesn't say... Oh, it says normal move, so you can't come within 1. So you just fall, basically. All right, so that's the Canoptic Court. The detachment rule is power matrix. Certain areas of the battlefield are considered to be a power matrix as follows. Your deployment zone is always within your army's power matrix. At the start of any phase, if you control at least half the objective markers in no man's land until the end of that phase, then it's inside your power matrix. So basically, if you can control the stuff outside both players' deployment zones. And then at the start of any phase, if you control at least half the objective markers within your opponent's deployment zone, then it counts as power matrix. So you can have the whole table be power matrix as long as you're dominant on the zones. Until each time a model in a cryptic or canoptic unit from your army makes an attack, reroll hit rolls of 1. If such unit's wholly within the power matrix, you can reroll the hit roll instead. So you can just reroll all hit rolls if you are a cryptic or canoptic unit. So like that means all of like your wraiths, all your cryptecs, everybody basically gets to be better at fighting when they're inside like this sort of zone of influence. All right, got 4 different enhancements. Dimensional Sanctum, cryptecs only. Models in the bearer's unit have the Infiltrator's ability. Hyperphasic Fulcrum, cryptic model only. While the bearer is leading a unit, it can only, if that unit's wholly within your army's power matrix, you can reroll wound rolls of 1, so another double buff basically for rerolling. Auto Diviners for cryptic only. Each time your model, your opponent gains a CP. On a 2+, you also gain a CP. I love that ability. So basically you get a bonus one at the start of each of their command phases on a 2+. So you're evening out basically whoever's turn it is gets a bonus one, but you still get your own on that turn. It's a very cool command ability or CP generating thing. And most of these, there's still just 1 CP for their stratagems, which is very handy. And then Metalodermal Tesla Weave, cryptech only. Once per phase, when an enemy unit charges the bearer's unit as a target, selects them as a target of a charge, roll d6. On a 2 to 5, they take d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, they take 3 mortal wounds. You just have a giant shock field that shoots out from you. So then we got Curse of the Cryptex. This is your battle tactics. And these are important, again, because the thing that allows for free strats, it's battle tactics only. So Sinister of Eradication and Curse of the Cryptech are both battle tactics. So this first one, when your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase, just after they've shot or fought, the target's a cryptic model from your army that was destroyed by one of the attacking, and then basically until the end of the battle, each time a friendly canoptic unit makes an attack that targets the attacking unit, add 1 to the hit and wound roll. So you get mad when a cryptic model gets destroyed, and they basically from undeath curse you, so that unit then gets +1 to hit and wound against it. The Sinister of Eradication, it's the start of your shooting or fight phase. 1 cryptic or canoptic unit from your army that's wholly within your power matrix gets this one. And your weapons just get devastating wounds. That's pretty great. Why not? It's the most expensive one, though, at 2 CPs instead of 1. And then Solar Pulse, when start of your shooting phase, target 1 cryptic model in your army. Effect, select 1 objective marker within 18 of the cryptic. Until the end of the phase, weapons equipped by friendly Necron models have the ignore cover rule when they target stuff on that objective. And then reactive subroutines in your opponent's movement phase. Just after an unit ends a normal advance or fallback move, 1 canoptic unit from your army that's within 9, they can make a normal move up to 6. Counter-temporal shift, your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy it's selected as a target. Selected its target. 1 canoptic unit from your army that was selected as a target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attack. So basically, if someone shoots you, until the end of the phase, your unit can only be selected as the target of a ranged attack if the attacking model is within 12. So kind of stealth for a CP. And then Suboptimal Facade, your opponent's charge phase just after an enemy is declared a charge, and then 1 canoptic unit from your army that is selected as a target and is wholly inside the power matrix. Your reanimation protocols activate. You just basically get more guys if someone tries to charge you. And then it's the Silent King's Court, the Obeisance Phalanx. So this is the one that's all dedicated to like the Triarch units and all the big like BC stuff, and of course Silent King himself. So the detachment rule is worthy foes. In your command phase, select 1 enemy unit until the start of your next command phase. Each time an Overlord, Lichguard, or Triarch unit from your army makes an attack that targets them, add 1 to the wound roll. So you pick out something that's cool to fight. Very cool for like big T8 or T9 or T10 models. Anyone who leans into a monster army is going to hate this rule because you're just going to get the things that are normally wounded on 5s and 6s are wounded on 4s. And then Honorable Combatant is your first enhancement for an Overlord. Each time the bearer's unit destroys a enemy character, they get a CP. Your opponent loses a CP if they have any. Unflinching Will, Overlord model only. The bearer's melee weapons have precision and anti-infantry 5+. And Warrior Noble, Overload only. Each time a melee attack targets the bear, that's -1 to hit. And then Eternal Conqueror, Overload only. Each time a model in the bear's unit makes an attack that targets an enemy within range of an objective, reroll the hit roll. So all about taking objectives and making your Overlord better. But it's Overloads only for all 4. Then your time is nigh. When any phase just after your opponent's Warlord is destroyed, target your Necron's Warlord until the end of the battle. Each time an enemy unit takes a battle shock test or leadership test, subtract 1 from the result. Basically, he just calls you out. He's like, the end has come. The Enslaved Artifice. When you're shooting phase or fight phase, 1 Necron's unit from your army, excluding Titanic units, that hasn't been selected to shoot or fight. You get 5+ crits. That's pretty great. Nano Assembly Protocols. When your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase, just after an enemy unit's been selected, has selected its targets. And the target's a Necron vehicle that was selected as the target of the attack. The effect is until the end of the phase, each time you attack is allocated to the unit, subtract 1 damage. That's -1 damage. Sentinels of Eternity, and these are all 1 CP. It's in the fight phase just after an enemy unit's selected its targets. The target's a Lich Guard or Track Praetorian unit from your army that was selected as the target. And then the effect is until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit's destroyed on a 4+, don't remove them. They can fight after the attacks the attacks are resolved, and then it's removed from play. Then Suffer No Rival. In the fight phase, the target's a Lich Guard or Triarch unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase, and then the effect is you get Precision. So you get to go kill enemy characters. Territorial Obeisance. When your command phase and the target's a Lich Guard or Track Praetorian unit from your army, the effect is until the start of your next command phase. Add 1 to the objective control unit for models in the unit. If your unit has the vehicle keyword, add 3 to it instead. So that means that your Triarch Stalker can be +3 OBSEC, which is pretty cool. And then the Hyper Crypt Legion. This one's the one where you jump around. At the end of your opponent's turn, you can select a number of Necron units equal to the engagement range to put into strategic reserve. So, like, if it's Incursion 2, if it's Strike Force 3, if it's Onslaught 4. So basically just, like, disappear at the start of your opponent's turn. You just go, bye, and they just can't be an engagement. So you just go, bye, and you just leave, and then you go back in strategic reserve and you show up on the side. You can't remember, strategic reserve doesn't allow you to necessarily deep strike again. It's only the normal strategic reserve rules for when you show up. And then your enhancements are Dimensional Overseer, Necron models only. While the bear is on the battlefield or in strategic reserve, add 1 to the number of units from your army that can select the hyperphasing rule. So basically, if you're alive, you get to have like 3, 4, and 5 units show up instead. The Arisen Tyrant, Necron models only. Each time a model in the bear's unit makes an attack, reroll hit rolls of 1. If the bear's unit was set up on the battlefield this turn, you can reroll the hit roll instead. Hyperspatial Transfer Node for Necrons only. Each time the bear's unit advances, do not make an advance roll. Instead, at the end of the phase, add 6 to the move characteristic of the models in the bear's unit. So you just auto 6 for a run. And then Osteoclave Fulcrum, you get the Deep Strike ability. And your unit does too. All right, so you get 6 stratagems. I think 2 of them are 2 CPs this time, the Hyperphasic Recall and Dimensional Corridor, because this is all movement shenanigans, and it's standing in zones. This is the game, right? So being able to move around real fast comes at a premium. So we've got first the Hyperphasic Recall. Your opponent's shooting your fight phase just after enemy unit's shot or fought, and the target's a Necron infantry unit from your army that has 1 or more of its models destroyed as a result of the attacking unit's attacks and a friendly monolith model. The effect is remove your infantry model from the battlefield and set them up anywhere on the battlefield that's wholly within 6 of your monolith model, and not in engagement range. You just basically bamf back through the portal that's on that thing. You sling ring like Doctor Strange. Quantum Deflections, 1 CP. When your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase just after the enemy has been selected its targets, 1 Necron vehicle unit from your army that's selected as the target of an attack, it gets a 4+ invul. So you put up your time shield. And then Reanimation Crypts. It's your command phase, your Necron Warlord's the target, and then affect each of your Necron units in reserve. That reserve unit uses its reanimation protocols. So even though you're in reserve, you can heal while you're in reserve, which is pretty cool. And then a Cosmic Precision. When your movement phase, target 1 Necron's unit from your army that was arrived using Deep Strike or Hyperphasing, and the effect is they can be set up anywhere in the battlefield that's more than 3 horizontally away from all enemy models. And the restrictions unit can't charge in the same turn, but you can just show up wherever you want for a CP, outside of 3. That's so close. And then Dimensional Corridor, for 2 CPs. In your charge phase, 1 Necron unit from your army that was set up on the battlefield using the Eternity Gate ability of a monolith, they can charge that phase. So for 2 CPs, you can come through the doorway of a monolith and still charge. And then Entropic Dampening for a CP, it's 1 when your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy it's selected its target. And the target's 1 Titanic model from your army that was selected as the target, so basically the big Catani Titanic thing. And is within 18, and then the effect is until the end of the phase, weapons equipped by the models that attack the unit have the hazardous ability. So basically, if you roll ones, take mortal wounds, which is pretty cool. And that's it for our detachments. So I actually like all of these. I think I like the Canoptic Court one. It obviously has a ton of mechanical power because you're just talking about taking over the battlefield. And there's like an escalation of how powerful you are because your rerolls they just extend. So the better you're doing, the better you become, you know what I mean? That one has like a cascade effect. The Obeisance Phalanx one, I don't know if it's going to increase the popularity of like the Triarch units, because again, this is kind of a shooting army. Their melee is cool, but their best melee stuff isn't necessarily the Triarch stuff. And then I think this is the one that's like the sleeper one that has the actual all power, because movement is such a key part of 40k. And so let's talk Crusade rules. This is probably one of my favorite, I guess, subsections of this codex, because it's completely focused on awakening a tomb. So the idea is that you're going to pick your own sort of like tomb world. You're going to create your own 1,000-point incursion level army to start with. And then as you play games, your agendas are going to unlock things like different tomb systems to bring online. So the idea is that you're a tomb world, you belong to one of the dynasties, your overlord wakes up, it's been millions of years, and you're like, what are all these lesser races doing in my area? And you have to go eradicate them. So you pick agendas that are around that, and then you pick a different system that you're going to try and awaken. So you can have a reanimation system to awaken, a command system to awaken, or your translocation system to awaken. And every time you pick an agenda like Relentless Expansion, that's going to help you bring online your translocation stuff, so like give you bonuses during the campaign of like moving guys around. Your reanimation system is going to allow you for healing. So like if you choose this activate, and you can have 3 of these things activated. So you can do all 3 through 1, or 1 of each, or 2 in 1. However you want to do it, because you only have so many awakening points. But you could have things like a resurrection flux. While units below half strength add 1 to its reanimations protocol roll, or remastered deficiency once per battle round. You can select a Necrons character unit from your army with the command reroll stratagem to do the command reroll stratagem for 0 CPs. And you can do it basically twice per phase. And then you get the command master system ability if you get all 3 of these unlocked. Each one has a different agenda to do them, and then you have generic agendas on top of that to sort of like benefit different things in your army. So like one's for like the destroyer cults, if they kill stuff, they get bonuses. And then all that same thematic stuff for like having agendas for your units can go into your battle traits and your bonuses and stuff too. So one of my favorite ones is you can have a creeping vector where like you basically become more, where is it? You can add more stuff to your list, but it's like because you've... Viral vectors is a requisition. When a Necron's battling unit would gain a battle scar, you can instead have it removed from it and have a flayed 1 unit put in instead for a requisition point. The newly added unit gains the same XP and number of battle honors, but becomes flayed 1. So basically a bunch of your warriors go crazy and become flayed 1s. And there's a bunch of sort of thematic stuff through here like that. Your Canoptic units can gain bonuses, and of course your battle scars are all about creeping madness. Add 1 of the strength and attacks characteristic of the unit, but this unit has the lone operative ability and loses the leader ability. So like you become crazy, your overlord gets better at fighting, but just turns into a madman. Or like destroyer stuff with Mindless Reaper. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, you can reroll the hit roll, but your objective control and leadership go down by 1. I just think it's cool. It's all basically themed to the fact that, you know, you're millions of years old and your minds are starting to explode. And then of course you can get cool badges and your super antiquity relics and stuff too, like the Orb of Eternity. When you're leading a unit, you automatically get 3 wounds instead of D3 wounds when you do your animation protocol. And that is the Crusade section, which I think is very thematic and very appropriate for the Necrons. Setup profile-wise, I haven't noticed any real differences, if I'm honest with you. They, for the most part, do the same thing as they did. We do have a couple new models, obviously. Imhotep, with his Grand Strategist, so getting CPs. Lord of the Storm, once per battle at the end of your command phase. This model can use this ability. If he does so, roll a d6 for every enemy unit within 12 of this model. Take D3 mortal wounds or D3 plus 3 on a 6. On a 2+. And then he's got a Gauntlet of Fire and a Staff of the Destroyer. He's pretty cool as far as glow-ups go. And again, we're talking about stuff that, you know, is getting a new model, so they're probably going to get a bit of a glow-up. Trazine did not. I'm pissed Trazine did not, because he is still my favorite character, I think, in 40k, because he's basically just... He's just Cobra Commander. He just wants to steal one of everything. He wants a gold helicopter. Orkan the Diviner getting a new one, too. Can be attached to Immortals and Necron Warriors. Oh, who can Imatech be attached to? Immortals, Lich Guard, and Necron Warriors. That makes sense. He's got his Master Chronomancer, so 4+ Invul, and the stars are right. Once per battle at the start of the fight phase, this model can use this ability. If it does so until the end of the phase, triple the attack and strength characteristic of this model's Staff of Tomorrow, and every successful wound is considered to be critical, which is amazing. So it has devastating wounds. So if he hits on 3s, he could just have 6d3 mortal wounds in melee with somebody. He is a sleeper murder machine. And I love the Translocation Shroud model. I will be done. Once per battle round, 1 unit from your army with this ability can be targeted with a stratagem for 0 CPs, even if you've already done it this phase. Again, all the battle tactics will apply to that because of that one rule, or that one FAQ. And then Translocation Shroud, each time this model activates, do not make an advance roll. Sorry, it advances, do not make an advance roll for it. Instead, until the end of the phase, add 6 to its move characteristic, and it can move through other models and terrain. So it becomes a ghost, a robo-ghost, if you will. And I think that's it for new and exciting things. Everything else seems to be pretty much... I mean, I didn't give this a deep dive. Someone far more familiar with the Necrons in particular, and of course just playing 40k more often than I do, is going to give you far more information about this. I'm here to talk about the general fun of being able to have themed armies, 6 themed armies now in this list. And that's really it. If you want to talk about points and all that other fun stuff, it's not in this book, of course, because the updates for points are dynamic, and so I'm not gonna do points today because they're probably gonna be different in 5 minutes. So there we go. That's my look at the new Necron Codex. I'm pretty excited about it, to be honest with you. Mostly because I just really like this army. I like the HP Lovecraft direction that they went with them over the last few years, and they're real fun and easy to paint. They make a great antagonist, and I think that their plotline in general in 40k is one of the cooler ones, just because it's about saving the galaxy in a way that we won't like, but still saving the galaxy. So there you go, another GMG review. Thanks for workshop sending along the book, and for you guys for watching. Next time, Ash, Apple Gaming.